Okay, keep things moving right along. Our next speaker is Lorena Scott, and her 3 fun facts. Oh, do we have some fans? I want to say this right. Carlos Vives is her most played artist, according to Spotify. She says, Google him, he is a true Colombian legend. She prefers animated film above any other genre, and she still loves the power of the handwritten note. Please give it up for Lorena Scott.
So as was shared, I am a repeat offender, and I thought it would get a little bit easier doing this the second time around, and I can tell you by my trembling hand that it does not. What is different are a few things. This time, unlike last time, I have an amazing crew at the very back, some dressed similarly and some at the front that I want to give a shout out to because for my children, most of them are here tonight, my husband, the people I've worked with, my story is so much inspired by the courage, the support, and everything that you do for me. So much like you, Jermaine, I'm powered by an amazing group of people that allows me to sit here or stand here in front of all of you and share not only the first time around my fuck up, but the second big one that just happened recently. Marsha had asked a bit of the storytelling of kind of who I am, and there's a lot beyond the LinkedIn profile of who I am. There's some great stories of my history, sort of growing up in South America. I am Colombian born and raised. I married a Canadian, and he moved me to the North Pole. But my professional history has a few chapters. The first was a career in finance, so I lived and breathed and dreamed in Excel for many years. I was a venture investor and a private equity investor before I was inspired by my motherhood journey and started a company called MommiesFirst, which was not my first fuck up, but it was the reason that I came here. It was a wildly unsuccessful, did not scale subscription service for expectant and new moms. And that's when I became a founder. And there are so many lessons learned, which I will spare you that story. But it changed my life. It led me down a path beyond Excel into what became chapter 3. And I apparently fucked up and can't count from 1 to 3. It changed my life, changed my career journey into chapter 3, which is where I am today as an operator and a people leader. So to catch everybody up, 5.5 years ago, I stood in a similar situation talking about MommiesFirst, that startup that did not succeed, but had a lot of heart and a lot of hard lessons learned. But it changed a path into leading some operations and people roles in some incredible companies here in Toronto and in other parts of the world. 5.5 years ago, this was my world. I had a 10-month-old, a 5-year-old, or I guess, 5, and a 7-year-old. Today, they're a bit older. Only 2 of them are in the audience because I don't want to truly corrupt the 6-year-old just yet. What is different about the story that I'm going to share today is that I had some time from my MommiesFirst experience. I had just started at Ritual, so it had been a few years since I had struck down MommiesFirst. And I had some time to sort of recover and grieve, go through all of the stages and regain some of my pep in my step. And it was about a company and the company's failures at the end of the day. I had lessons learned, but it wasn't deeply personal. And what I'll say today is that today's fuck up is more personal in many ways, in part because it's recent. I'm about 4 weeks into what I would describe the oh shit, aha, fuck up moment. I haven't shared it with some of the people that are in the room tonight as my community. And so shit's gonna get real. I may get emotional, but I'm Latin, so that's probably normal. So let me get started. My oh shit moment, and Marsha, she's so good. She kind of preps you for these, and she wants it to be perfectly imperfect. And she said, Lorena, you really need to talk about the oh shit moment. And I wish I could say there was one, like the time I was on a plane flying back from Paris in tears and everybody next to me thought I was crazy, trying to work through a problem over Slack and for 10 hours crying. Or the moment I was in a board meeting talking about the power of people and the importance of people and diversity and inclusion and all the great things that Jermaine was talking about, and nobody cared. There were so many moments and so many signals, and I just didn't read the tea leaves or whatever, I always get them wrong, the expressions. And so my oh shit moment was the day that, having had the roles I've had and having exited people over the course of my career, I got exited. I got told that I wasn't good enough. And for the last 10 years of my career, as I've transitioned into an operator, I've always been excellent. I've always prided myself in being an incredible people leader and exiting people with empathy and doing it in the right way. And I had the moment where I was exited. I was told I wasn't the right fit. And so I've gone through, and that was sort of 4 weeks ago, so it's pretty raw. I've gone through the fear. I've gone through anger. I've gone through nervousness about what happens in this climate. But I'm here because I've also been able to give the gift of lots of walking time and lots of reflection. And I wanted to share kind of what I've thought about so far. So I was doing my job search about 9 months ago, 12 months ago. And when I was approached by the opportunity I just left or just got exited from, the first line was, we want a chief people officer to help us go public in the next 6 to 12 months. And I thought, that's me. I mean, before they even started talking about the mandate and the opportunity, I saw myself in New York, city I loved, right on Wall Street, the balcony on the stock exchange, probably taking somebody down to ring the bell. I had this vision of me doing this thing and showing off about it. And I forgot to ask some really important questions about what does it mean to take a company public? I forgot to ask some really relevant questions who's gonna be on that journey with me? And I forgot to think about the journey itself. All I could think about was the end state, and I didn't ask any of the right questions. And pretty early on, I started to have signals that it wasn't the right place or the right opportunity. The biggest was myself. I pride myself in being able to fall asleep before takeoff on a plane. I probably annoy my husband to death because I can fall asleep after a cup of coffee. And I was waking up in the middle of the night in panic. I couldn't sleep anymore. And I was thinking, am I doing my job well? Why am I not doing my job well? I had recruited somebody that I cared about deeply into the company. I was gonna let her down. There were so many things that were keeping me up at night, and so many stories I was telling myself. And in addition to that, I stopped doing some of the things that I loved for my body, for my mental health, which was running, because there was no time, because I had to work to prove myself to do these things. But yet, my body, my hips, my legs, everything about me was like I was running a marathon a day. I was falling apart physically, but I didn't listen to the signals. And I shut down. And I think the hardest part was I didn't want to tell anybody that I was struggling, because I was great. I was meant to do great things. I wasn't supposed to be struggling and unsure and not confident in my role and my abilities. And I think that was perhaps one of my biggest flaws, is that I trained myself to keep it all inside. And because I didn't share, I just didn't have an outlet, an opportunity to release some of the frustration, some of the doubt, and honestly have people tell me that the stories in my head, I wasn't crazy. Interestingly enough, some of my tribe is out in the audience. Even though I wasn't talking, they knew it. Because I was a shadow of who I was, and the energy and the energy, and I think the optimism was lost. And my husband was trying to pull it out of me. There's people who were trying to put a mirror up, and they were trying to tell me that something wasn't right, and I just didn't want to hear it. But they knew. And I think, but why is that? Why didn't I want to talk about it? Why didn't I want to listen? Why didn't I listen to any of the signals, whether it was my body or the voices of people who cared about me? And I think the reason for that is that I had spent this chapter as part of a startup community, as part of a scale-up, and we're taught that we can do anything. That if we just put our our heads down, we can walk through walls. I mean, I have walked head down into a wall. But that we're resilient. I mean, I hired for resiliency. And so I got this. I can do this if I just work hard enough. And my advice upon reflection is take the cape off. We're not superheroes. Shit happens. The other thing I would suggest humbly is that you redefine, if you're ever in this situation, you redefine resilience. I thought of resilience as just never giving up, right? Wearing the cape and kind of going into war and staying at it. And I Googled what resilience and the definition, and there's another way to interpret it. It is the power to walk away and rebuild. And so I think I have struggled, and certainly did then, and working on it now, to redefine what it means to be resilient and to pick myself up. So the biggest learning, I'm probably wondering why there's a dog in this picture. I feel like that was me. I was paralyzed. I like Dr. Seuss. I read a lot to my kids. And I was in the waiting room. I was nervous to make a decision, to walk away. I was paralyzed by fear. And so I just sat there, kind of in limbo, waiting for something to happen. And something did happen. Somebody took the choice away from me and made it for me. I don't advise that. So I'm out of the waiting room. I don't know where I'm going next. I don't know if there's another chapter to be had, a chapter 4, if I can get my numbers right. I don't know if there's a story within this chapter that of the people, leadership roles, and operator roles that is coming next. And so the reason I'm here, because I don't know where I'm going, and I don't have sort of that, what is the end, the happy story at the end of this fuck up. The reason I'm here is for 3 reasons. It's for 3 points. 1, for my children, because I want them to be proud of their fuck-ups. And I think the only way to do that is to talk about our failures and to celebrate them and to really learn from them. And so to the 2 men or boys who will become men, this is really for you. Shit, I did it. For my tribe in the back and in the front, you inspire me, and I hope that, I hope you do amazing things. And I wanted you to know that fuck-ups are also real at any level and at any stage. And for all of you in the audience that I don't know, you have an ally, a serial fucker-upper, I don't know, a motherfucker, I don't know. But just because you fuck up never means you're a fuck up. So thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me get emotional, and thank you for this, for being here right now in this place.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was really powerful.